BTS Americas. They are in the only series we have today, finishing out the round of 8. It's Fire Dota going against Team Unknown, and we're in game number 2. Fire Dota did best Unknown in game 1. It looked like a bit of a struggling start, but unfortunately Unknown just didn't have the answer to really bounce back into the late game and got caught off out there at the end. And now Fire Dota are up 1, but we do have a few changes here. To bring you the covers, though, is myself, KotLGuy, from Beyond the Summit, and I'm going to be joined again remotely from Mr. Blaze, Blaze Casting. Blaze, so we lost a member of Unknown, but what a stand-in they've been able to get a hold of here. We got Young Yawar going to be playing for Unknown. That should be something special.
Yeah, very impressive potential. I'm wondering how much communication will become a factor, but maybe you just go at it kind of pub style. You go solo queue, Templar assassin bit, just try to dominate as best you can. They'll ping, they'll chat wheel, they'll let you know that they're coming and going, and I see some real potential here. I mean, yeah, you're up against the Leshrac. They seem willing to let the Leshrac through over the Undying Tusk, or maybe to enable themselves to get the better second picks. But in this case, they are going to have the Z-Tog Bounty Hunter, and this guy, I wasn't really impressed with the Bounty Hunter I saw from him in the mid to late game, but his laning phase Bounty Hunter was perfectly on point. So he's going to be able to set his team up for some early momentum, and from there, as long as you're tracking, you're doing your job.
10 seconds remaining.
I mean, they are really adamant about that Undying Tusk, making sure that they're just not in the game, willing to let the Lesh go again. The draft overall seems very similar to the start, even the Huskar band coming out once again here from Fire. But I'm curious to see what they look to do here, what J.O. decides to draft for himself on this go-around. Now that the PL has been banned out, what kind of fruitful options do remain out there? We've seen J.O. play like the Ember in the past. We've also seen him from time to time pull out even a Slardar. So is there anything in particular that maybe we're rooting for a J.O. here?
I mean, there's a lot of ways to address what you're up against. Something that farms well against the Darkseer would be nice, so range is generally better. The Anti-Mage could be a denial pick. I think that would be okay. I'm not sure if Unknown really could facilitate an Anti-Mage, though, so I don't think it's necessary. It's just, you know, one of those things that Leshrac hates to go up against. So I think they're okay with fighting the Anti-Mage just because, you know, you have a Darkseer Bounty Hunter and Templar Assassin. Those guys don't really mesh well too much with Magena there, but going for the Ogre, keeping kind of their cards close to their chest here, trying to I obviously rely on a bit of attack speed with the Ogre's Bloodlust boost, but otherwise just pick a farming core, trying to take it mid to late game once again.
Just the Ogre. Hey, look at that, Slardar! Wow, Fire always seem to have this funky trend in a 3-game series. If they come out on top in game 1, it always feels like in the second game they're not afraid to kind of pull out something unique. I want to say, I believe it was in Nanyang or maybe even ESL, they pulled out even the offlane Jakiro in game 2. Didn't work out so well, but it's nice to see him kind of think outside the box and not be afraid to, you know, reach back a bit. Grabbing something like an Ogre Magi is pleasant to see. We already know how ridiculously tanky he is. You know, he's able to kind of stand and swing with any offlaner. He's very good at protecting and being a bodyguard for runes. There's not many who can be able to contest him in swing punches. And now we get to see the pairing between him and Slardar. I am a bit nervous. It's pretty melee intensive just between the two of them, but for a lot of these heroes, they need to be really in the fray to be useful. Ogre is very close quarter fighter. We know Slardar is. Not so much for Wyvern, but Lesh as well needs to really be in the action. So, you know, I don't know if they're just trying to make sure that they're going to be super swole and kind of just can take all that pressure and handle it, because you're going to be dealing with a, you know, Psyblade, hefty damage, Darkseer's Vacuum Wall, Burst from Lion, and now a Slark. It seems to be a bit interesting. And they're going to round things out with another melee grab here who wants to get in the fray, a Spectre, Blaze.
Yeah. If they wanted to go for earlier tempo range, I think Razor would have been a pretty solid pick here, but they are obviously wanting to be confident in the late game, and they're going to be going for a little bit of greed here. I mean, Slardar is kind of the semi-carry that you can find in the offlane. He's still going to be very relevant at all stages of the game. We saw what 747 could do with the Leshrac throughout the game, and of course, one of the latest game heroes that you can even fit into the meta at this point would be the Spectre. Like, yeah, you can look at Medusa as one of JO's major picks in previous patches, but that's just not one that you can make work in this metagame. Spectre, however, some teams have been able to make it happen. And in this case, the real trial will be him farming against the Ion Shell. He's got the Winter Wyvern to cover him against the Darkseer, but otherwise Jo, I think, will be under some pretty heavy harassment.
Prepare
It'll be
for
interesting
battle.
to see. He's even got a nice little set here. They gave him the mask because he was just so hideous as the model. Now he's going to be nicely decked out. Well, here we go, folks. We're going to get started. It's game number 2 of this best of 3 for BTS Americas. The winner gets to move on into the next round to face Complexity in the semifinals. Will it be Unknown? They will need to bounce back one game just to take it to a 3-game stretch. Fire could close it all out here with the victory. We'll lead over some of the minor introductions. Z-Talk going to be playing his Bounty Hunter alongside Yawar, who is going to be standing in for them. Fortunately, due to some technical computer issues, they had to reach out, and, well, you couldn't ask for anyone better. And because Digital Chaos is not competing in BTS Americas, it is fair game. So he'll be playing that TA mid. Looks like Ale is going to be playing the Darkseer here in the off lane. We got Mr. Bad Weeds, who's going to be playing your Lion, and then bottom lane, that will leave Slark. Or asterisk Slark. I'll let you take over Fireblades.
Sure enough, man. A lot easier here. We've got Jo running on the Spectre, a lot of regen for him in the safe lane. He's going to be supported by Fluff and Stuff, aka Brian on the Winter Wyvern. It looks like there's going to be a heavy rune contest here, so we'll have to leave the introduction for a moment later.
Ion Shell on this Bounty Hunter is being a bit of a nuisance for the Spectre, but as I said during the draft, this Ogre is happy to stand and trade. But look at 747. We saw this last game. He was first blood. It could happen again, and it will. Bad Weeds is going to pick up that one with just one more hefty right-click from his Lion. And it'll be the second straight time that little Susie's just going to have to get the shared TP back to lane and get things started from there.
Yeah, unfortunate. Just, they didn't obviously see the double Ion Shell play coming. They very clearly would not have gone for the rune, at least 747 wouldn't have, unless he had known about the lack of Ion Shell. And he just didn't fathom it until it came to be a really big factor. They're taking way more damage than he could withstand, and once again, they're going to have to actually bring a support over to the mid lane to help him out, get him back on his feet. So Fluff and Stuff's going to hang out here, Arctic Burn on cooldown, and in turn, it looks like Axel, the Lion,
bottom lane, they're going to get the Slark, it looks like. Ooh, maybe just not used to having to go and get in a lane against an Ogre, but Whitebeard not afraid to get up in his face, and they just muscle forward a stun and take him down.
I figured this is the weak point of Unknown, and they know it. Actually going to be a mid stun connecting really nicely, and that's the kill that'll bring 747 back. It's going to go to Fluff and Stuff, but even still, the TA is going to be set back quite a bit from it. She's actually buying her own TP scroll too. But going back to the draft, you talked about it 2 times in a row. We're seeing Tusk Undying banned out, and that signals to me that they're not so confident in the ability of their safe laner to really withstand that aggression. So, then Fire still just take that up a notch and say, okay, well, we won't go for that classic combo, we'll go for something a little bit different. But the Ogre Slaughter still has a lot of potential because of the HP regen of the Ogre. He's got Orb of Venom and Stout Shield, and he can just keep on hitting the Slark. There's no reason not to whenever he's away from tower. And then from there, of course, you've got your double stun combo as well.
I mean, 7 freaking armor. 7 armor, level 2
stun
Ogre.
again on mid. This could be decent, but just waits it out, goes for the high ground, no chance to miss with the Lightning Storm. And it seems like, yeah, Fluff and Stuff got him off on the right foot indeed, as he is now dominating the matchup despite feeding first blood.
Ooh, Z-Talk is here, but does walk back right into his sentry vision, so Lesh just turns his tail and walks away, and that's going to be double takedown now for Yawar in this mid lane. And I could not agree anymore about this bottom lane and the pressure, which you can see still continues to mount. Even Fluff getting involved. Arctic Burn, nice double stun connection comes out from Moo, and that means they're going to probably be able to clear up both. They just go into man fight mode, and that's a Slark also going down. Fire coming out huge here at the start, 5-1.
I mean, it's just insane how different the kill score is here 2.5 minutes in compared to what we're looking at throughout the first 10 minutes of the previous game. However, this does sacrifice Jo a little bit, whereas previously the PL was one of the few heroes that was getting away unscathed in the laning phase. Now he's actually having to fight for his CS, but when you look at the numbers, he's only 2 behind. Creep cutting is now starting to come out from Ale with the Soul Ring, so it's going to get harder, but if they can rotate the Wyvern up top to help him out, they can still stabilize this while, of course, dominating on the other 2 lanes.
Yeah, this Darkseer is getting a lot because of the sacrifice that was made to add the pressure elsewhere, and they're looking for Jo, but he's able to get the dagger off before the Hex comes, and we'll just kind of avoid that bit of pressure coming in. They're just happy that Jo's going to be able to just kind of stand and continue to swing. Darkseer will be able to get a lot, but they're doing so much extra work everywhere else that it's a worthy trade to them. Fluff continues to be very mobile here, dancing between the mid and bottom, and I'm sure he's finding little things to help with along the way. No stacks yet on the Ancient Camp, and it looks like he's going to head back bottom here. As 4 minutes comes up, he'll probably just want to hang around the rune spot and be there for its safety, and that seems to be the case. And it looks like there's not going to be any contention coming out from the side of Unknown. Bounty Hunter is kind of on, creep pull duty.
And Slark again going to be taking just so much harassment. Every time Whitebeard can just walk up to him and take a few hits. He is going to be losing Essence this time around, but I mean, just that HP regen now with a Ring of Health on top. This guy's got 12.4 HP regen, and his HP is actually temporarily reduced, which makes the Ring of Health even stronger. And the neutral HP regen as well. The regen is built into the hero, not into the strength value that he has. So it means that the less strength that he has, the more relative HP he's going to be gaining long term. It's actually not a bad hero to trade hits with Slark, despite that usually being a bit of a misnomer.
Z-Talk now, just stacking up a bit, comes to the bottom here, but he doesn't get to be as active as you would like early on. Can't really exactly do it, but look at this. Just confidently strutting forward, going for the Slark. He's going to be able to pounce away, but the sprint is out. He needs another right-click connection, and he gets it. Z-Talk's not going to be able to help. Tries to body block a bit. We'll slow him here with the orb, but it's a Slardar, and he's just going to muscle it off and head on back. Successful pickoff from Moo. Good heads-up play to recognize that he had the opportunity to pounce and gets it done.
Very nice movement there, and it's also kind of rendered the Bounty Hunter half useless. I mean, like, what has Z-Talk accomplished in this laning stage? Obviously, he was involved in the level 1 kill with the Ion Shell, but other than that, like, he just hasn't been able to make the moves that he wanted to catch out his opponents. The fact is, taking this aggressive stance allows Fire to set the tempo of the game, and it's going to be Z-Talk that kind of has to react to it. Now we're seeing on mid, just big damage coming out with the Leshrac now having his ultimate. This makes it very difficult for UR to hold the line.
He's able to stand for a bit though, but now comes out the first haunt of the game. They could be committing potentially on this mid lane or bottom. They're also diving, but we'll keep eyes here. UR able to get the refraction off. We'll be fine for now. Soaks up all that damage and heads out. Bottom lane where the haunt was committed. They did clear out the Bounty Hunter, and they're not able to get the follow-up on the Slark, but he is stood still. Whitebeard's like, he's DC'd or something. He's
He's lagging for sure.
Or something. But it's like he's DC'd, but he didn't auto-attack. Whitebeard's just like, I don't know what to do. Gotta hit him. I feel bad.
Either that or some shenanigans. I don't know. Maybe kind of just goofing around underneath this tier 2. Sometimes you have to take the game a little lighthearted, but we're going to see how little this Bounty Hunter can do to the Ogre Magi. One Janata strike, and it doesn't even take an HP.
Lion crosses paths with Slardar, so he just hits him real hard with the stun. And they get the finish with the help of the Splinter Blast coming out from Fluff. The Lion goes down. This is looking like it could be getting out of hand very fast, Blaze, for Fire at the start of this. 8-1 already. The Slark, very nervous. We already mentioned how the Bounty Hunter is not able to accomplish a lot. Yawar's still under pressure even in the mid lane, but Z-Talk's back now. They might be able to get something. Oh, no, never mind. Turns back and gets a free kill on the Bounty Hunter, but they will be able to get it with the assistance coming in from Darkseer. Finally gets the Pony Boy down, but it comes at the expense of losing their little Bounty Hunter once more. The dreams of getting tracked seem far off at this point, as Fire's still muscle ahead now 9-2.
Yeah, just not exactly what they were looking for, and in general 9-2 now. Fire are gonna start building themselves up even more. Like, Moo's gonna pick up that 4-staff in no time, which is gonna allow him to be very aggressive and move about pretty quickly.
This Slark is just so sad, Blaze. I'm sorry, he's just so sad. Even his just common movement seems so awkward. He's dropping his Stout Shield and just randomly picking it up, and he just
There's nothing for him to do. This guy has 9 last hits, and he's just like, yeah, I want to go on the creep wave, but doing so is just throwing away HP. You either die or you just lose out majority of your health pool for absolutely nothing. It's really just a laning configuration that he wasn't set up for.
Look at this. He just sits there, and he's just going to take the damage and be forced to pounce away. The Haunt comes out. He's dead.
Yeah, he's probably tilting right now.
I
would be upset if I were him.
He is definitely just broken. If not, some sort of computer issue, he is just definitely mentally lagging and broken at this point. It is a hard game to be a Slark. And look at this. Rune is going to be snagged up from Darkseer. He uses the Surge to walk back and away, but Fire going to be feeling pretty damn confident. These two knuckleheads down here, the regular Brash brothers, if you will, just kind of took over, and Moo's kind of like, where'd the lane go? No one's here. I'll just cut the creeps, I guess. Whitebeard will do work on the tower. Slark returns, but it's just to soak up some XP and wait. He gets a wand in the meantime, but We will not be looking to this Slark to be very scary for quite a while.
And I think this is beyond just this game, the scope of this game. Actually, it's going to be that dive up top. Z-Talk will get the help of the Darkseer to finish off the Spectre, but they're still going to be pursuing. And after the Dark Deathback will be the Crush to bring the Slark down. Just slithering on slithering action, favoring Fire considerably, and they take the tower as well. So what I would have to say about this is that this isn't just bad for this game. It means that if they lose the game because of what's happening here for the Slark, it gives an indicator to all of Unknown's opponents that if they are up against this guy in the carry role and they just go for an aggressive dual lane that stomps, they auto-win because of the tilt that he's showing right now. It's not just showing weakness in this game, it's going to show a long-term problem strategically that can be exploited by those that watch this replay.
Oh, 747 pulls a mini Ocean's 11 in the mid lane, pops the haste, goes right back towards the piggy bank of that sweet little juicy stack, gets it quick and heads out before they can do anything about it with the convenience of that haste rune. That's going to really hurt Unknown with their offshore account being gone. Moo's now here. Moo goes for the Force Staff. This is something Fluff was talking about a lot the other day when I was casting with him when we were watching. I can't remember who we were watching, but he was like, oh, it was Complexity. And they did the same thing. He's like, oh, they're taking our build-up. Moo's been playing a lot of Slardar with a Force Staff, and we're going to see it executed here mid lane. There's the Crush. Yawar is being swarmed, and he realizes the Slardar is grossly farmed, and he goes down. Makes it 3-12 now, with free DD rune at the top for someone from Fire.
They just saw the Ancients, too. I mean, they knew that probably how big they were getting based on the TA's ability to move and go for that while also going for the top rune. But now that they have a direct indicator of the Ancients, they're going to prioritize that next in any way that they can, either baiting it or farming it.
Poor Slardar's like, I just want a lane, please. I go to top, and now you're here. Suddenly, this Slardar haunts my life, the real Fish King. And now it just continues to hurt. They continue to put Slardar in that hurt locker. 0-6. Oh, it's just soul-crushing at this point.
Yeah, he's in Davy Jones. This guy just can't get out of pretty much this hell of a game. It's going to be maybe a tower deny coming in from the Lion. No, can't even get that. The only thing going for them is this mechanism on the Darkseer, and it's not going to be helping out Axel, who is finished off by the double damage last track. Now we'll take a look at these Ancients. Do they just drop a bunch of wards and bait it out, or do they actually look to try to steal this with what heroes they do have? Oh, never mind.
And we are done. To be honest, I'm not surprised by the early GG call. The wait to get started into this game takes longer than the game itself, but sometimes you gotta respect the setup that Fire had. It's obviously also very unfortunate for Unknown that they couldn't have their 5th player for their final game and had to reach out quickly to get hold of Yawar. But you gotta give props to Fire. They recognized, as you pointed out in the draft, that because 2 drafts straight, an insta-ban on the Tusk, an insta-ban on the Undying, kind of gives you an idea that maybe Unknown could be a bit uncomfortable with that safe lane in the early laning phase. And they recognize that, and they pull out one nice of a dual lane there. The Ogre Magi Slardar just dominates, and Slark is just left as a non-factor. And from that point on, Fire just kind of took everything they wanted. Is there really much else that needs to be said, Blaze? Please enlighten me.
Negative 1.2 fantasy points in 11 minutes. Game is hard. There are games like this. It makes the pros look like pubs, and it doesn't look good, but it is just a strategic victory for Fire. They knew where to really push the limits against Unknown, and Unknown didn't know how to respond. The Lion did his best, but he got punished pretty heavily, and the Bounty Hunter was nowhere to be found for the first 3 levels because that wasn't his job. He wasn't supposed to babysit the Slark, and then that's what it came down to, thanks to this really smart Ogre Slardar duo that I expect to see more of if 6.85 doesn't change too many things.
It would be nice to see something a bit different. We'll find out more about that patch next week, but that's going to be concluding our action for today. Before we go, though, we'll take a look at the bracket here. I haven't updated it quite yet, but you can see that closes out our round of 8. Fire will be moving on, and they will face Cloud9 in the upper part of the semifinal bracket. And on the bottom, we're going to have Complexity go toe-to-toe with Team Imagine. I know tomorrow for sure we will be seeing the Cloud9 Fire matchup, but I will have to double-check if Complexity will also be playing or not. So please make sure you do come back tomorrow for more BTS America's action. This is KotLGuy for Beyond the Summit, joined again. Thank you so much, Blaze. You can catch him on his Twitter, @BlazeCasting. We always appreciate your support and feedback. But we're going to be closing things out. So please take care, enjoy the rest of your day, enjoy the rest of your Dota, and we'll see you next time.